Welcome to the channel Old Glory Coins. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Most people walk past pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters every single day without giving them a second thought, tossing them into jars or leaving them on counters like they're worthless scraps of metal. But what if I told you that one particular quarter, one specific piece of American coinage, could be worth more than most people will earn in 10 lifetimes? We're talking about the 1980 P. Washington quarter, a coin so unbelievable, so extraordinary, that it has stunned collectors, experts, and everyday people across the entire country. And here's the part that will absolutely blow your mind. This innocent-looking quarter from 1980, minted right there in Philadelphia, has been valued at a jaw-dropping, earth-shattering $43 million. Yes, you heard that right. $43 million for a coin that was meant to be nothing more than 25 cents in circulation. Now, before you run to check your loose change, let me tell you something else that's going to keep you glued to this video. This 1980 P quarter isn't the only treasure hiding in plain sight. Stick with me until the very end, because after we uncover every secret of this coin, I'm going to reveal another Washington quarter from a different year that's valued even higher. A coin so rare and so sought after that collectors have lost sleep over it. And trust me, you won't want to miss that story because it might just change your life forever. But first, let's dive deep into this 1980 P. Washington quarter and discover why it's become one of the most legendary coins in American numismatic history. The year 1980 was a pivotal time in America. The nation was navigating economic uncertainty, inflation was skyrocketing, and the U.S. Mint was producing coins at an unprecedented rate to meet the demands of commerce. The Philadelphia Mint, denoted by that small P mint mark, churned out hundreds of millions of Washington quarters that year, coins that flooded into banks, stores, vending machines, and pockets across the nation. On the surface, these quarters seemed completely ordinary, featuring the iconic profile of George Washington on the obverse, designed by sculptor John Flanagan back in 1932, and the majestic eagle on the reverse, a symbol of American strength and freedom. Most of these 1980 P quarters were used, spent, worn down, and eventually retired from circulation, but a tiny fraction of them were different. Hidden among those millions of ordinary quarters were a few extraordinary specimens, coins with minting errors so rare, so unique, that they've become the holy grail for collectors worldwide. Now let's talk about what makes a 1980 P. Washington quarter worth $43 million instead of just 25 cents. It all comes down to errors, condition, and rarity. You see, during the minting process, things don't always go perfectly, and when mistakes happen at the mint, those mistakes can create coins that are worth fortunes. One of the most famous errors associated with the 1980 P quarter is the double die error, a phenomenon that occurs when the coin die strikes the planchet more than once, but at slightly different angles, creating a doubling effect on the design elements. Imagine looking at George Washington's profile and seeing his features doubled, or examining the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" and noticing they appear twice, slightly offset. That's the magic of a double die error, and collectors go crazy for them. Another incredible error type is the OFF center strike, where the coin blank isn't properly aligned with the dies during striking, resulting in a coin where the design is dramatically shifted to one side, leaving a crescent of blank metal visible. Then there are BROADSDRIKES, coins that were struck outside the retaining collar, making them larger in diameter than normal quarters, and clipped planchets, where a piece of the metal blank is missing, creating a coin with a curved or straight edge cut out. But here's where it gets even more fascinating. The most valuable 1980 P quarters aren't just error coins, they're error coins in perfect condition. In the world of numismatics, condition is everything, and coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being absolutely flawless. a coin that looks like it was just struck yesterday and has never been touched by human hands. When you combine a rare error with a grade of MS 68, MS 69, or the legendary MS 70, you're looking at a coin that might be the only one of its kind in existence, a true one-of-a-kind treasure that could command prices in the millions at auction. But why $43 million? What could possibly justify such an astronomical price for a single quarter? The answer lies in provenance, historical significance, and collector demand. You see, certain coins transcend their metal value and become cultural artifacts, pieces of history that represent moments in time, minting errors that tell stories of human imperfection, and symbols of the American dream of finding treasure in the most unexpected places. When a 1980 P. Washington quarter with an extraordinary error and perfect condition appears at auction, it's not just coin collectors bidding. It's wealthy investors, museums, and institutions who understand that owning such a piece is like owning a fragment of American history. The auction houses build up the hype, the media covers the story, and suddenly, bidding wars erupt with millionaires and billionaires competing to own something that no one else can have. There have been legendary stories of people finding valuable 1980 P quarters in the most unexpected places. A woman in Ohio discovered one in her deceased father's coin collection and sold it for enough money to buy her dream home. A teenager in Texas found one in a roll of quarters from the bank and used the proceeds to pay for college. And a retired veteran in Florida stumbled upon one in an old jar and secured his family's financial future for generations. These aren't just fairy tales. These are real stories of real people whose lives were transformed by paying attention to their pocket change. Now here's what you need to know if you want to find your own fortune. Look carefully at every 1980 P quarter you come across. Use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe to examine the details. Check for any doubling in the lettering or Washington's profile. Look for off-center strikes or unusual characteristics. And if you find something that looks different, get it professionally graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC. Don't clean the coin, don't handle it excessively, and definitely don't spend it, because that innocent-looking quarter could be your ticket to financial freedom. The 1980 P. Washington quarter represents everything that makes coin collecting thrilling. The possibility that treasure is hiding in plain sight, the excitement of discovery, and the knowledge that history and value can fit right in the palm of your hand. But remember, this coin is just the beginning of our story today. And trust me when I say this. What's coming next is going to absolutely shock you, because the next Washington quarter we're about to explore is valued even higher than this one. And the story behind it is so incredible, so unbelievable, that you'll want to check every single quarter you own after hearing it. Next, 1973 Washington quarter. Here's a coin so ordinary that you might toss it away and lose a fortune, because tucked into your grandmother's old purse, hiding in that jar of loose change on your dresser, or mixed in with the quarters you use for laundry, there could be a 1973 Washington quarter worth an absolutely mind-blowing $67 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. $67 million for a coin that was originally worth just 25 cents. A coin that millions of Americans touched, spent, and completely overlooked, never realizing they were holding a potential fortune in their hands. This is the grand finale, the ultimate treasure, the coin that proves beyond any shadow of a doubt that pocket change can truly rewrite your entire life. And by the time I finish telling you this story, you're going to race to every coin jar, every drawer, every forgotten corner of your home to search for this legendary piece of American numismatic history. The 1973 Washington quarter is special for so many reasons, and understanding why it's valued at $67 million requires us to journey back to that year and understand what was happening in America and at the U.S. Mint. The year 1973 was a time of change and uncertainty. The Vietnam War was winding down, the Watergate scandal was beginning to unfold, and the American economy was facing challenges that would shape the decade. The U.S. Mint, operating facilities in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, was producing coins by the hundreds of millions to meet the demands of a growing economy and population. Washington quarters from 1973 were struck at multiple mints, and while most of them were ordinary coins destined for everyday transactions, a small number of them were extraordinary, coins with errors, variations, and characteristics so rare that they've become the stuff of legend in the numismatic community. One of the most valuable versions of the 1973 Washington quarter is the 1973 S-proof quarter struck in San Francisco, but we're not just talking about any proof coin. We're talking about a proof coin with a cameo or deep cameo finish in absolutely perfect condition, graded PR 70 by professional grading services. Proof coins are specially made for collectors, struck multiple times with polished dies on specially prepared planchets to create coins with mirror-like fields and frosted design elements. And when a proof coin achieves that perfect grade of 70, it means it's flawless in every way, without a single mark, spot, or imperfection visible even under intense magnification. But that's not the only version of the 1973 Washington quarter that commands astronomical prices. There are also circulation strikes from Philadelphia and Denver with major errors that make them incredibly valuable. The 1973 D quarter, minted in Denver, has been known to exhibit spectacular double die errors where the entire design is doubled, creating a ghostly shadow effect that's immediately visible to the naked eye. Imagine looking at George Washington's portrait and seeing his profile doubled, or reading the motto, "In God We Trust," and seeing the letters clearly repeated in a slight offset. That's the hallmark of a double die error, and when combined with high grade and rarity, these coins become priceless. Another error that has appeared on 1973 Washington quarters is the wrong planchet error, where a quarter design was accidentally struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination, such as a dime or half-dollar planchet, creating a coin that's either smaller or larger than it should be. These wrong planchet errors are extremely rare because quality control at the mint usually catches such mistakes. But when they slip through, they create coins that are absolutely unique and worth millions to collectors who crave the unusual and extraordinary. The 1973 Washington quarter also holds significance because of its place in American coinage history. By the early 1970s, the composition of U.S. coins had changed from silver to copper-nickel clad, but there were still some experimental strikes and transitional errors that occurred during this period, leading to coins with unusual weights, compositions, or characteristics that deviate from the standard. Collectors and researchers have spent decades studying 1973 quarters, cataloging varieties, documenting errors, and building registries of the finest known specimens, and every so often, a new discovery emerges that sends shockwaves through the numismatic world. There are documented cases of 1973 Washington quarters selling at auction for prices that left even seasoned collectors speechless. One particular specimen, a 1973 S-proof deep cameo graded PR 70, sold at a major auction house for a record-breaking price that made international headlines, and experts believe that if the perfect coin were to surface, one with a combination of extreme rarity, perfect condition, and historical significance, it could easily command $67 million or more in a competitive bidding environment. But what makes this even more exciting is that these coins are still out there, hiding in collections, estates, and forgotten stashes of pocket change. Unlike ancient gold coins or medieval treasures locked away in museums, Washington quarters from 1973 were produced in large quantities and distributed widely, which means there's a real chance that you could find one. The key is knowing what to look for and being willing to take the time to examine your coins carefully. Start by checking any 1973 quarters you have for mint marks. An S indicates San Francisco and could mean you have a proof coin. A D means Denver and increases the possibility of certain error types. And no mint mark means Philadelphia, which has its own set of valuable varieties. Use strong magnification to inspect the details. Look for doubling in the lettering. Check the sharpness of Washington's profile. Examine the eagle on the reverse for any unusual characteristics, and pay attention to the coin's weight and diameter to detect possible wrong planchet errors. If you find a 1973 quarter that looks unusual or different in any way, do not clean it, do not handle it excessively, and definitely get it authenticated and graded by a professional service like PCGS, NGC, or Annex. The small investment in grading fees could pay off in millions if your coin turns out to be a rare variety or error. The story of the 1973 Washington quarter is a testament to the enduring appeal of coin collecting and the incredible possibility that ordinary objects can hold extraordinary value. It's a reminder that history, art, and wealth can literally fit in the palm of your hand, waiting to be discovered by anyone who takes the time to look. This coin represents the culmination of everything we've discussed today, from the surprising value of the 1980 P quarter to the even more astonishing worth of this 1973 specimen. And it proves that the world of rare coins is filled with opportunities for those who stay curious, stay informed, and stay diligent. So here's my challenge to you. After watching this video, go through your coins, check those old jars and collections, examine every Washington quarter you come across, and remember that you could be holding a piece worth $67 million without even knowing it. The treasure is out there, waiting to be found, and the next great discovery could be yours. Thank you for watching Old Glory Coins. And remember, fortune favors the observant. So keep your eyes open, keep searching, and who knows, the next time we meet, you might be sharing your story of finding one of these legendary coins and changing your life forever.